Some players, for whatever reason, are remembered and revered after their playing days for being a much better player than they actually were. There is a word for those kind of players, and that is overrated. You could say overhyped, overinflated, or any other such words, but I'm going to stick with overrated. Remember, this is my list and my opinions that you may disagree with, and that is okay. All I ask is that you keep an open mind. Today we're going to cover 2 players, and if you like the video, I'm happy to make this into a series. If you have a player that you believe is overrated, leave it in the comments below, and if I agree, I'll put it in a future video. Let's begin with Michigan alum Chris Webber. He was a member of a great college team and is probably best remembered for calling a timeout when his team didn't have any, costing them the national championship title, as this resulted in a technical foul, giving the ball back to their opponent with just 11 seconds left in the game. As a professional, he started out playing well for Golden State, who traded for him after he was picked number 1 overall by Orlando. He was a central part of the team and won Rookie of the Year despite his not getting along with head coach Don Nelson, who wanted him to play more of a traditional center role instead of taking advantage of his versatile playstyle. Ultimately, this kind of year would not be the norm for Webber. He played 18 seasons in the NBA and during that span averaged just 55 games per season, or 68% of the games that he was signed for. It was in 2003 that he went down with a knee injury that he would never really recover from, and from there would play in severely limited games as he would battle this injury for the rest of his career. He is admittedly a career 20-point, 10-rebound player, boosted by a 4-year stretch before that injury where he was at the top of his game. Outside of the game, he has had some legal issues, being fined and charged for more than 1 instance of possession of marijuana and having been sued by a former landlord after he violated his lease agreement for a restaurant that he owned. He was also involved and found guilty in the Michigan scandal that would see him fined over $100,000 and serving 330 hours of community service for his part in a numbers gambling operation and lying to a grand jury, which would also get him an 8-game suspension from the NBA along with a violation of substance abuse policy. For a player who could produce good numbers while he was on the court, I believe that his low percentage of games played may have helped his remembered legacy, as there were less chances for him to have bad games. He was a solid player and should be remembered as such, but in no way was he a top all-time player as he is often ranked. Next, I'd like to take a look at Brett Favre. Whoa! What's with all the shouting? I can hear you through the screen. Take a breath and just listen. As I said, this is my list. My opinion. I understand that you may disagree, and that's okay. We are allowed to have differences of opinions, but let me tell you why I feel this way. The gunslinger himself was exciting to watch, was never particularly injury-prone, and didn't miss a lot of games for any reason. In fact, he played in all 16 games, and every single season he was in Green Bay, but one, and that was a total of 16 years. Let's begin with his winning percentage of just 63% in the regular season with a 186-112 record and a surprisingly low 54% in the playoffs at 13-11. While he is just one of 4 quarterbacks to have over 70,000 career passing yards, he is also the all-time leader in not only interceptions thrown but fumbles as well. He has a career passer rating of 86, the same in both the regular season and the playoffs, just in case you were going to make the he shows up in important games argument. In case you were curious, that number ties him at 19th overall with Trent Green. He has won a Super Bowl, which is great, but so has Trent Dilfer. While 1 ring is more than most players will ever see, for a guy who has his name thrown into a top 5 all-time discussion, this is not the numbers you'd be looking for. He did win 3 MVPs, which is impressive, and they were all consecutive. Even for an award that is quarterback-centered, this is still an amazing feat. Remember, I'm not saying that he wasn't good. I'm just saying that he isn't as good as people like to think. Yes, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but his poor passing decisions would not make him the quarterback I would pick to build a team around, even in his prime. Thank you very much for joining me. As I said, I'm more than happy to make this into a regular series. If there's someone you would like to see covered in a future video, let me know in the comment down below, and please hit that like button so I know you did enjoy the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe so that when future videos come out, you don't miss any.